why don't we start with what went down in Ann Arbor yesterday? Michigan. And Michigan fan, I got to be honest with you, Michigan fan, I want to pat you on the back. Because some of the Twitter Michigan fans that usually show up with their hatchets and machetes actually were like, okay, Monty, you were right. I'm sorry. We got it wrong.
Monty, we overcooked the burger a little bit, okay?
So let me get this right. Look, Jimmy was just, he was hanging out at a burger joint on campus, and he happened to see some highly regarded football recruits from the other side of the country who knew they were in Ann Arbor. Jimmy certainly didn't. He saw them sitting there, Monty. They were hungry.
Hey, got him a couple extra fries. What's the big deal?
My guy just walked over and bought him a cheeseburger. This is not a recruiting violation.
This shit's going good.
Oh, wait, it turns out that it was more than, Monty, it was just a cheeseburger. Yeah, it turns out that's not the case, you stupid fucks.
No, you guys hate Michigan. You don't even watch Michigan football.
Why do you hate Jimmy? Too much? Probably too much. The details about Michigan and their cheeseburger semantics have come to light, and it turns out that Michigan completely and wholly owned yesterday, or over the last several weeks, owned their part, and the actions of their former head coach and a lot of his assistants during the COVID dark period. They owned up to all of it. They accepted the punishment and the accusations and the punishment that was handed down. And you can see the writing on the wall here, right? Jim Harbaugh, now the coach of the Wales Vagina Los Angeles Chargers, was wholly thrown under the bus. And they not only threw him under the bus, they ran him over, backed up, and made sure to crush his cranium with the bus at Michigan. And they absolutely did. They got off easy. I think a lot of people expected that Michigan was going to fight this. And then Jim Harbaugh did what he always does, which is betray his employer, which he will do to the Spanos family in Los Angeles. It's not a matter of if, but when, in my opinion. And he exactly did that to Michigan. He knew all along that he was going to leave. We talked about it on this show. The whack job Michigan fans showed up and said, Jimmy's never leaving, Monty. What do you mean? He's got cheeseburgers for all the kids. Yeah, it turns out he doesn't. Turns out he doesn't, and he did leave, and now he is going to be scapegoated for this. If you look at the penalties that were handed down by the NCAA against Michigan, there you have them, and they are fairly light. 3 years of probation. They will lose some ability to recruit, and they will pay some fines. Nominal fines at that. Jim Harbaugh, it's your turn. This is just getting going. For Michigan, the recruiting dark period scandal is over, and there are some things involved in that we need to clarify. For Michigan, they owned up to what they did. Current and former assistants, their former head coach, it's over for Michigan as far as the COVID dark period recruiting violations go. For Jim Harbaugh, it's just getting going. As far as Michigan's other investigations, I would remind you that those haven't even gotten started yet with the NCAA. You are talking about, and I think, Michigan fan, I think it's time that you own up to your bullshit, because we're talking about criminal investigations into Matt Weiss and computer crimes that had the FBI on your campus for an extended period of time. We have not gotten anywhere close to resolution on that. The Connor Stallions cheating scandal that you say never was, turns out it was.
Sign stealer guy.
Yeah, turns out that's not been adjudicated here either. We are just getting going. And I think for the first time, Michigan fan is getting a look behind the strategy and the trajectory that Michigan is going to take to extricate themselves from as much of this punishment as possible. And a lot of that is going to be to hang a big guilty sign around their own neck and really throw the anchor in the waistline of Jim Harbaugh. And Jake, I think it is exactly the right strategy to take.
Well, yeah, and I think that the NCAA was very clear yesterday that this what came out yesterday is very much separate from the sign stealer guy situation and the Matt Weiss stuff. And I think that was a really important detail that I think a lot of people were talking about, is that the NCAA is not saying that this is over by any stretch of the imagination. They're simply saying, hey, this is the COVID dark period stuff. Now we're moving on to the next thing on the ledger. And I think that's the hard part if you're Michigan fan, is that you understand that, okay, this chapter 1 is over with. Now we're on chapter 2. And I'm curious what the what the NCAA is going to do in terms of discipline, not just for Jim, because obviously he's going to have a show cause and we all know the drill. But I'm curious if the NCAA decides to give Michigan as a university more discipline because he was the head coach, because, again, they lacked institutional control. I'm curious how that is sort of defined and interpreted by the NCAA given the situation. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the day that we've been telling you has been coming. We knew that this was going to happen. We knew that again, it was going to be the sign stealer guy stuff is going to come out in May or June. We've been telling you that for I don't know how long. And Michigan fan wants to continue to deny it. And we get countless DMs and people saying, "Oh, where's the discipline? Where's the discipline?" Well, here you go. Discipline train's here. It's starting. It's beginning. And I just think for Michigan fan, the question I have for you is the same question I asked on the day you won the national championship. Was all this BS worth your time? When you can't do anything for the next probably 5 years effectively, was this national championship and Jim Harbaugh stabbing you in the back and leaving and betraying you, was all this worth it? Because I'm not sure it is.
He loves Michigan. He would never leave Michigan.
Yeah, that's why he's in sunny San Diego wearing powder blue, and you're still in
Los Angeles,
whatever it
living
is.
in a camper.
Yeah, nice. Classic Jim Harbaugh.
But Jake, it was just cheeseburgers for hungry kids during COVID.
Cheating, lying, and then playing the victim.
It is, which is funny you bring that up, because look at the statement that Jim Harbaugh's attorney, Tom Mars, gave to ESPN. This might be the best part of the whole story.
Do we need music?
You should.
Okay.
I filed a lengthy response to the notice of allegations on behalf of Jim Harbaugh after he ate his cheeseburger, I mind you, which unfortunately hasn't been made public and will probably never see the light of day. Pause. Well, by the way, the NCAA threatened to suspend Jim Harbaugh multiple times because Tom Mars wouldn't shut up during the investigation. This is the same guy who now continues to ESPN, quote, "That concluded Coach Harbaugh's participation in the case. I saw from Ward Manuel's statement that Michigan changed its position for the purpose of moving forward."
Nice quotes.
Which doesn't surprise me, considering that Coach Harbaugh is no longer Michigan's head coach. Wow, holy Jesus. Who knew?
Science take there, bud.
Who knew? I can almost hear the wheels of the bus going wump wump. But sometimes that's the way things go in college football. So you have Jimmy's boy. Hey, boy. You have Jimmy's boy over here saying, "Oh, they threw us under the bus. Can you believe this shit?"
You threw yourself under the bus, you jag.
And then there is Michigan's violations, right? Good luck reading that. They're accused of staff members engaging in on and off-field coaching activities, including providing technical and tactical skill instruction to student athletes when you're not allowed to do that. Impermissible in-person recruiting contact during the COVID-19 dead period.
The coronavirus.
Impermissible tryouts in programs exceeding the number of allowable countable coaches.
Math is hard.
The negotiated resolution also involved the school's agreement that the underlying violations demonstrated a head coach responsibility violation. Hey, it's called a lack of institutional control. Monty, that's not true.
Monty.
That never happened. Lack of institutional control.
How many times?
Right here.
Dude, how many times did we say, hey, it doesn't matter
never
if you
happened.
knew or didn't know, or if it happened or didn't
Cheeseburgers
happen.
for the kids, Monty.
Dude, I don't care if that thing is a double cheeseburger with a 50-piece nugget. This guy's getting taken down. 100%.
Former head coach failed to meet his responsibility to cooperate with the investigation.
Okay, so another point for Michigan fan. Well, Monty, you hate Jim Harbaugh. You're saying that he's not cooperating with the investigation. Well, it turns out,
Monty,
who knew?
Cheeseburgers for the kids.
Who knew?
Oh.
The school also agreed that it failed to deter and detect the impermissible recruiting contact. Lack of institutional control, bitch.
Let me get this right. Michigan is saying it failed to recognize the violations. Wow, dude, who knew? You didn't know what Jimmy was doing?
And did not ensure that the football program adhered to the rules for non-coaching staff members, which leads to the agreed upon penalties in the case: 3 years of probation for the school, a fine, recruiting restrictions, alignment with the level 1 mitigated classification. The participation individuals also agreed to a 1-year show cause order consistent with the level 2 standard, level 2 mitigated classification of their responsible act. Cheeseburgers for the kids, Monty.
Come on, guy. Come on.
But now, Michigan fan, can you stop filleting Jim Harbaugh? Do you understand now that he did real damage to your program? Monty, he just gave kids some cheeseburgers. Yeah. No, he didn't.
Shut the fuck up, Donnie.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He broke significant recruiting rules. He broke significant allocation of time and labor rules. He had and demonstrated a lack of not only institutional control, but a flagrant policy and modus operandi, a way of doing business, ignoring and skirting NCAA rules, which every one of you Michigan hyenas denied.
Yeah.
And now it's in black and white. And I can only tell you what I've told you from the beginning of this back to last summer. Through the fall, through the suspension you said wasn't going to happen. And now Michigan is not defending him anymore. Michigan's not looking for alumni sitting on the judge's bench. They recognize they're in real trouble. And that's the part that I think you're going to have to reckon with at some point.
Well, and this is what's so incredible to me, this part of the conversation for Michigan. Like, you guys remember when we talked about this for several months on end. My main concern for Michigan as a university was always that you were tarnishing your brand as an institution over Jim Harbaugh. Like, yeah, did he win a national championship through all this? Sure. Yeah. Okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
But now do you look like a complete and utter buffoon for the way you handle this? Yes, you do. And at some point that has to matter. If you're an alumni, a fan, if you're Santaono, like if you're any of these dudes, like this has to matter. And I don't know why people continue to go out on a limb for Jim Harbaugh. I really just don't understand it, because now it's like,
I don't get it.
You're sitting here getting disciplined for this now. And again, I just keep coming back to the question: was it worth it? Because if it wasn't worth it, this is a mistake. This is years of bad decision making for what? And that's my thing.
And you knew he was doing it.
Yeah. And so now it comes out in this discipline. Oh, well, Michigan didn't know and they had no clue, but clearly they did know based on the way you were behaving in the heat of the moment.
And the bigger issue here is, again, you allowed Tom Mars, the attorney for Jim Harbaugh, to slam the NCAA during their investigation. What did we tell you when he was doing that? That's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh attacking the NCAA. What did I tell you at the time? He's doing this for one reason, because he's out. He's leaving. Jim Harbaugh basically didn't give you a reach around. He gave you a pat on the head and then walked out the door without leaving money on the dresser.
Yeah.
I at some point, you are going to have to recognize you're in a lot of trouble. And if who knows what these penalties will be. Jim Harbaugh will never coach another college football game. Never. I think that much is very clear. He is going to get, somebody told me yesterday they thought he was going to get a 10-year show cause order, which would be
never before seen.
That would be incredible. And especially for a coach who just won a national championship, to get a 10-year show cause order.
Yeah, and I think, and probably don't have time today, but I think we could dedicate a whole show to what are the impacts, of college football in the bigger picture off of this. Like, you just had a head coach win a national championship through cheating, essentially, through violations, through doing it all the wrong way. And now we're in a situation where, all this Super League talk is happening and NIL and portal stuff and the game is just changing. And I'm telling you, this has an impact on that. People, I guarantee you, there are head coaches out there, who are like, okay, cool. We can skirt the rules to win for 1 year. We can do whatever we need to do because we know the NCAA is going to take forever to discipline us.
Yes.
We know that it's retro. We know that it's retroactive. So we're saying, hey, we're going to do this and then we'll get disciplined down the line. And by the way, we're going to go ahead and dip out of this job after we win a natty because we're good. So it's like, what's really stopping anybody from doing any of this? And this has been my gripe with the NCAA for years. There is no, oh, it's Monday and you broke the rule. Cool. Tuesday, you're getting that ass beat. That's not how it works with the NCAA. They want to take their time and they want to be plotting. So I appreciate the discipline. I appreciate, what's come out and everything that they've said. Totally get it. But I just think until the way we go about enforcing the rules and regulations when someone breaks them, it doesn't matter because we know that this stuff is going to continue to happen. So that's what's so fascinating about it. Michigan, as a university, as an athletic department, looks silly today, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
And I think you look irresponsible. I think you look like you were, honestly, what it looks like to me is you were desperate to win. That's what it looks like. Because, again, we talked about this so much. Jim Harbaugh and that football program weren't doing anything.
No.
And then all of a sudden, things got turned up because he started going into what I would call the gray area in the moment.
The gray area.
And you can't tell me that there were not conversations with Ward Manuel and Jim Harbaugh where Jim was like, hey, like, we kind of need to change something here. We need to, stem the tide, change the flow. Like, we got to have something.
But do you agree that they have bailed on him? Like, they have just wholesale walked away from him?
Because what did he do? He bailed on them. And this is what their behavior has been for how long? I mean, Michigan is an athletic department, like Ward Manuel, Santa Ono, and Michigan as a school have been reactive to Jim. So Jim does X, Michigan's going to do Y. So Jim's saying, hey, well, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back, even though we all knew he was leaving. And what did Michigan do? Highest paid contract ever. Hey, contracts on the table for, I can't remember how many years it was, but basically highest paid head coach we've ever seen in college football. Like, Michigan was desperate to keep dating Jim Harbaugh, if you will.
To keep dating Jim Harbaugh.
And Jim was like, no, dude, I'm not interested anymore because I know what's coming down the pipe from the NCAA. I just won. I'm going to go make that bread in the NFL. You guys can clean up the mess. And this is why I say, for everybody who ripped me over the summer and wanted to say, oh, well, you don't know Jim, and what the hell are you talking about?
But your face is so rippable.
Like, holy crap, dude. Like, we're out here trying to die on the hill for a guy who does it the wrong way every single time. And we just don't seem to care about that.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. That you have this thing. We'll talk about this later. Don't worry. Where you have this thing with Jim Harbaugh, where he just spat in your face. And Michigan fan, you were so willing to protect him. And I think if you are a Michigan fan today, you can feel good about the actions that Ward Manuel and the athletic department have finally taken to own up to the damage that Jim Harbaugh has done to that university.
Like, I don't think we've seen desperation to this level out of a school to win.
I don't know that we ever have. I don't know that we ever have. That you made babies with Jim Harbaugh like this is humiliating. That you stoop to this level, all hyperbole aside, that a university the level of Michigan stooped to this level to do business with a guy like Jim Harbaugh that stains your reputation. And I don't think you'll ever get away from that. You will never get away from what Jim Harbaugh did. The cheating scandal, the Connor Stallion shit, like, you'll never get away from that. Just understand that you sold your soul to the devil to win a national championship in college football. And now is when you're starting to write the checks for that. And this punishment for Michigan, I agree, it is light, and it is only light because I think they rolled on Jim Harbaugh. I think that's the only reason that you're getting 3 years of probation. You're getting a slap on the wrist here. This is a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Unlike the cheeseburger from the COVID dark period, this is a nothing burger. If you're Michigan, this was the exact right tack to take because the NCAA in all likelihood is out for Jim Harbaugh. If you're a Michigan fan, what you need to hope is that this is how the NCAA is going to adjudicate the rest of these penalties, and that they're going to go light on Michigan and they're going to go real heavy on Jim Harbaugh, which I think most people expect, but light is a very relative term because most people expect that there will be significant scholarship reductions and recruiting activity limitations for Michigan for about the next 3 years.
Well, and I think when you look at this punishment that Michigan got here for the COVID stuff, like,
yes,
I think the fact that it's light really speaks to the concept of cooperation between Michigan, the Big Ten, and the NCAA.
The level of
of
cooperation. The moment that Jim left, everything changed at Michigan.
But like, do you remember, like, we talked all about how, when the Big Ten, air quotes, right, suspension of Jim Harbaugh came down, and it was he was going to miss 9 hours of time on the sideline. I don't think people in that moment appreciated what we were really trying to tell you in that moment, which was, yes, that suspension was nothing. That wasn't really a suspension.
I agree.
But what it was is laying the foundation and the road work for later down the line, because at that moment, I'm telling you, I promise you, with everything I have, Michigan knew how this was going to play out. At that point, you knew that
step by step,
you knew 100% that Jim was probably going to leave, and you were going to have to do everything you could to keep him, but most likely he was going to be gone, and you were going to have to clean this mess up. So right there at that point, Michigan decided, hey, we at least have to cooperate with the Big Ten, because we know if we cooperate with the Big Ten's going to go and talk to the NCAA, and when we get back to it and we get disciplined, hopefully that'll help our cause. I guarantee you that was part of the play. And that's why this discipline is light. Yep. So I would expect the discipline for Jim to be incredibly heavy-handed, like over the top, heavy-handed. That's what I personally, in my opinion, would expect them to do.
Yep. Deontay Carter, first one in, $10. Hello. U of M academia, and this is a really good point, because I think we've spent probably far too much time talking about the academics and the minds
it matters, though,
that run Michigan. And we had really good sourcing up and through the appeal in court, like going to the judge. Like, there were a lot of people in the academia, in the leadership, in the thought leadership at Michigan, who were disgusted, was the word that was used, if you remember right, who were disgusted at the lengths and the financial lengths, the moral and ethical boundaries that were being stretched to fight for Jim Harbaugh, who had so clearly in their minds damaged the university's reputation. So Deontay saying academia must have let U of M athletics know to accept accountability. And my hypothesis is that U of M athletics is going to continue to deny it. The beginning of the NCAA wrath is approaching. I actually think they won't deny it. I think
deny what?
Deny the things that happened with Matt Weiss, whatever the FBI is investigating, because we still don't even know what the computer crimes are.
Yeah, I mean, what incentive would they have to deny it?
Yeah, we just know that there are multiple victims, allegedly multiple victims across multiple state lines. That's what has been, floated.
Yeah.
The Connor Stallion stuff, and again, Michigan fan, I would I would pull your head out of your ass on this, because the evidence is not in question. The evidence is not in question about what happened with Connor Stallions. And the idea, and I'm curious how many Michigan fans will at least today own up to the fact Jim Harbaugh knew, in my opinion, had no choice but to know, because if he didn't know, he should have been fired, and he's derelict in his duty, which again, speaking of duty, I would remind you, what are the violations during the COVID-19 dark period? The violations demonstrate a head coach's responsibility violation, and the former football coach failed to meet his responsibility to cooperate. So they're already saying Jim was letting the prisoners run the jail. He was already saying that. He was letting his staff run away and do what they wanted to do. Multiple members of his staff have been terminated. Jim is no longer there. Do you think it's incidental that no current member of the staff is going to face punishment? Hello, Sharon Moore. Do you think Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator and the right-hand man to Jim Harbaugh, had no idea about cheeseburgers during the COVID period? Are you out of your mind? He absolutely knew. And this right here was a rollover to get Sharon Moore off the hook, and it was well done. This was what I'll just go back to what have I always said about Michigan. Those are really smart people. That's one of the top 10 law schools in the entire country right there.
Facts.
This was really well litigated by them. This was good negotiation. This was good execution. This was a very well-timed and executed mea culpa. This is well done by Michigan. This was well done by Michigan. All right, let's get into the comment section. I almost don't want to. Yes, Poliano, the Warriors lost. We'll talk about that coming up. Mike Smith, good morning, Mountain Mama. That beard, though. Michigan trolls getting triggered.
I'm here for it today. I got to be honest. I'm ready. I'm so ready.
James, you can only have 25 recruits per year. So once the limit is reached, that's it. Okay. Okay. Wasikowski, you've admitted numerous times you're a Michigan State fan. So why are you slobbering all over Michigan and Harbaugh all the time? He's a Michigan fan.
Yeah, he's a Michigan fan, bro.
He's a Michigan fan. Bob Pennington, you have and you hope and you wish, but you don't know squat. So now, Bob, you're clearly new here.
Oh, you're saying that to us? You're saying we don't know squat?
So I'm just going to ask you, what did we get wrong?
Yeah, please. Learn us since we don't know anything. Please.
And I'm sure Wasikowski's here because somebody mentioned him. Eric, what did we get wrong on this? I'm asking for a friend. Because this played out.
Precisely how we said. Literally.
I know. We're just the hacks on YouTube. We don't know anything about nothing.
No, and ask all the people on X, formerly known as Twitter, what we know. I mean, we don't know anything. We don't have sources.
We said what we allegedly said.
Yeah, I mean, we're just hacks and don't know anything and
can't add new drops to the show. You know,
can't do it. I mean, technical difficulties,
Bobby Fowler.
Hey, Bobby.
Robert, good to see you. Wasikowski, I read that one. OG Gary, wellness check on Sammy and Ferris. Seriously. Dak and the Tubbs. Dakota was also in the middle of the fracas. If you're not in the members only group,
that was such a heated debate yesterday.
If you are not in the members only group, I just don't know. What you're not living life.
Okay, quick sidebar, 2 minutes. So we have this heated discussion in our members only group yesterday about, we'll just call it world happenings. And
world happenings.
So last night I was like, let me go on YouTube and just look for some speeches. Like, what did George W. Bush say when he addressed the nation? And what was it like? And I have to say, we were more unified as a country at that time, which is incredible.
What party was W in?
Yeah.
He was a Republican.
And somehow.
But what was he on September 12th of 2001? He was an American.
Yeah.
America. Anyway, later in the show.
Back to the comments.
Back to the top. How dare Jim not give them a reach around when he left? The nerve of that guy.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Guy. That's my guy, Pootie, right there. RJC loaner phone. Eric, do you need a tissue? Oh, boy.
No, he needs a loaner phone.
James, hope you're feeling. James was all pissy last week. He didn't feel good, remember? You have a headache or something? I don't like Harbaugh at all, but snowy Michigan or sunny LA, I'd pick the West Coast. Me three. Here's Wasikowski. I love it when people can't admit they're wrong like you. Please don't start attacking people, Eric. Like, that's bad form, dude. Talk about yourself or your opinion. Don't talk about others. The irony,
That's what I'm saying, dude. Are you kidding me?
The irony.
Are you kidding me?
The irony. I'm sure Eric has plenty of tissue right next to his Jergens. Oh my God.
Dude,
Giggity.
this is going to get heated. You could just tell.
I'm not here for it. You guys, I'm not. Don't attack each other. Let's
all play nice in the sandbox.
Let's rip Jim Harbaugh. San Diego State Glenn, hello. University of Michigan Law School, quote, I love me some me. The best representation I don't have to buy.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Sean Schrock, Michigan fans think it's over. Nothing's over.
Yeah.
I will agree with this. I think it's very interesting that Michigan fans on X, formerly known as Twitter, yesterday were like, oh, it's over. We told you we're off of the hook.
Via social media.
Connor Stallions can suck it.
Sign stealer guy.
Yet that has nothing to do with what happened yesterday. This is the COVID dark period, and it only relates to Michigan's involvement in Cheeseburger Gate.
Do we ever get, as part of this discipline stuff coming out from the NCAA?
Realize you used a cheeseburger to defend this prick. Like, has that set in yet?
Now, when you decided to do that, did you want a charburger or?
Monty, he put extra pickles on it. Those kids were hungry.
Yeah, they wanted some extra mustard, so we gave it to him.
Jim's a father.
He's a developer of men.
Yeah, he's a maker of men, Monty. A nice young guy, Jimmy. And, we saw some hungry kids at a burger joint after they illegally tried out on Zoom.
Doesn't get any more red, white, and blue than that.
What is Jimmy supposed to do? He walks in. We've paid him millions of dollars to screw us over. He's got the bread, and he sees these kids out there begging with signs. Monty, they were cold and hungry. Have you been to Michigan? Yeah. It's cold in Michigan.
Yeah.
How do you explain this away? There should be no dead periods. There should be dead periods. Coaches have lives. Let the big schools get their 25, and then the smaller schools can recruit. There absolutely should be.
And you know what the sad part is? I'd be okay with this whole thing with Jim if it happened at a small school.
Jim.
Then I could at least justify it. Hey, you're a small school. You don't have a chance. Let's cheat and try to win one, and then we'll take this.
Like if this was Michigan State, nobody'd be complaining about this. They got to do what they got to do to compete.
Yeah, but see, Michigan State went full Skinamax on FaceTime, and that didn't work for them.
And listen, we've talked about pickles at Penn State. We know how that story ends. Anyway, let's move on. That felt awkward. Okay, Tanner Plummer, not going to lie. The fight between the Monties and Mo was entertaining. Wasn't really a fight. Mike Smith, if the cheeseburger had extra pickles, I say let it go. If not, hit him hard.
Yeah.
Well, look, Monty.
You're
a guy who espouses about his love of the butter pickle. I don't see how you're not on Jimmy's side here.
Well said.
Anthony Eason, hello. Oh, I thought this was about the sign stealing thing. My bad. No,
it's not.
No. Let's see. Christopher Shannon, January all the way to May should be off. I think there absolutely has to be. Do you understand how difficult it is to coach college football right now? And I think the Sabinator talked about this.
Yeah.
You don't have a life anymore. Do you know that the month of December is hell? You're preparing for what probably, if you're a top coach. So if you are, I was going to say Marcus Freeman, but
Jim Harbaugh.
Well, no. Okay, so if you're Jim Harbaugh and you've cheated for the 11 months, and you've cheated allegedly 11 months,
allegedly,
and then December shows up, it's like, okay. Do you understand how difficult it is? Bowl game prep, conference championship games, recruiting, early signing period. Do you understand just how impossible it is to be a football coach in December? Like, you have to have dark periods. San Diego State Glenn, those were Five Guys cheeseburgers. Listen, Monty. You sit here every day and tell us how fat you are because you ate at Five Guys. And you're going to vilify Jimmy over this?
He just gave him some extra fries out of his Five Guys bag. What's the big deal?
Do you know how many fries they put on in a large fry at Five Guys?
He was just being a good Samaritan, man.
Jimmy's a good man. You let Jimmy live his life. Those kids needed fries. Unlike you, fat ass. Okay.
Next comment.
Jim got his contract money reduced, so he had to do what he had to do. He did what he had to do.
Yeah, dude.
You know.
Sure.
I'm telling you, it's got to be tough to be Jim Harbaugh shaking those vacuums together on Connor's porch
Dude.
to try and make ends meet, right? Yes, Monty, it was a fight. Well, the Paterno Pickle Palace live on CBS from the Paterno Pickle Palace in Happy Ending Valley. Penn State versus Northwestern in a cock-washing competition.
The cock.
I am going to hell if there is
And in
one.
today's breakdown of the showers at Northwestern, here are the hurdles. Sorry.
Free car washes for all the kids after the game.
That's right.
Jeremiah Champion. I'm just excited for the new NCAA game this summer. I admittedly will buy it.
Do you think that they're going to have a sign stealer guy in the game, or what do you think?
All right, Central Michigan versus Michigan.
Sign stealer intel says that they're going to blitz on this play. What do you think you want to call?
Connor Stallions at quarterback. He too is better than free Harbaugh. Mike Smith. What do you think the Lions are targeting in this draft, Eric? Oh, God. Yeah, the Lions are unrolling. Did you guys see the Jets' new uniforms? Oh, you mean their old uniforms? Are their new?
Oh, Monty. These are new. The stitches are stitched a different way.
Gangrene.
Yeah.
Which is different than gangrene.
Right.
Okay. I actually am excited for the new Lions uniforms. I am. Creepy Valley, sir. Yeah. All right. Creepy Valley. Come on. The pickle. Never mind. Yes. Thank you. I'm working over here.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Oh!
The cock.
LMAO cock washing competition. Sign stealer mode enabled. All right, here at NCAA football, live from EA Sports. Here at the Pickle Palace.